Good evening from BBC London News. I'm Alice Bandukravi. An Albanian Secret Service agent accused of kidnap and torture who's been living on benefits in West London may avoid extradition from this country. Using a false name, he claimed a flat in Fulham, a disability allowance and eventually a British passport. Matthew Morris has the story.
He has lived a double life in London for 13 years. Will Ilir Kumbaro ever be made to return to Albania? He's a former senior member of the Albanian Secret Service accused of kidnapping and torture. Back in March, BBC London went to Tirana, where the name Ilir Kumbaro is big news.
Kumbara was a monster because he used the same methods of the communist regime, like kidnapping, torturing.
In 1996, Ilir Kumbaro claimed asylum in the UK using a Kosovan ID card, pretending to be a man called Shaka Shatri. He was issued with a British passport and claimed disability allowance for depression and post-traumatic stress disorder. But he was tracked down to a flat in Fulham, West London, and arrested.
He came into his front room. He's a short, stocky man. And he was very quiet and he was very cold.
Now the extradition process in London has been halted because the Albanian arrest warrant expired. Kumbaro is not in custody. We went to his flat in Fulham. There were windows open but no lights on and there was no answer. Authorities in Tirana are thought to have applied for a new warrant, but for now Ilir Kumbaro has won the right to stay in London. Matthew Morris, BBC London News.
Police are appealing for witnesses after a man died on a night out in Chingford. 23-year-old David Jocelyn was out celebrating on the Saturday before Christmas. He was acting as a peacemaker when he was punched unconscious. He died from his injuries on Sunday. The Met Police faces a £1.3 million shortfall after a scheme to seize uninsured vehicles failed to meet its target. Operation Reclaim aims to cut car crime, but took 24,000 fewer vehicles off the capital's roads than planned. The Met admitted it set itself challenging targets, but considered the scheme an overall success. Now, this year saw the 20th anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. 2 decades on, the internet has reunited two Londoners who were there at the time. One was our special correspondent, Kurt Barling.
It was a moment that ended the Cold War and sparked hopes of a better world. 20 years ago, the Independent newspaper published a picture of a scene on the Berlin Wall that I'd witnessed whilst making a film for the BBC.
When I saw that saxophonist on the wall playing Glenn Miller's In the Moon, for me, in that very moment, I understood that things would never be the same again.
Last month I wrote a piece about this particular memory on BBC London's website, and lo and behold, the musician got in touch. Stephen Ellery, it turns out, is a Londoner from Leighton. Since the fall of the wall, Ellery has established himself as an international conductor, but also reconnected with his roots in Waltham Forest, passing on his knowledge to the local youth orchestra. Ellery still regularly travels to Berlin and says that the wall may have changed world history, but his moment on it in 1989 also transformed his musical journey.
I went up to Checkpoint Charlie, that area, and I went up to the wall, and people were up on the wall, and I went, right, get up. And I always used to have my sax with me. So I got up, and then someone passed the sax up to me, and I was just playing there for a few hours, just like jamming on my own, you know. It was a fantastic moment to play at a great place.
Kurt Barling, BBC London News.
Here's the weather now with Wendy Horrell.